What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Thomas. Welcome to the Solo Insurance Agent. And in this video, we're going to talk about a question that I get a lot. I see it talked about a lot on social media, and that is, should I get an office space? This is going to be a good video for your experienced agents and also your new people who may be looking to get into the business, who may be asking themselves, do I need an office right now? So there are a lot of videos on YouTube talking about this. I'm just going to give it to you from my point of view and from my experience. And you know how I do it. I'm going to give you the pros and the cons, and then I'm going to ask some questions. So first, I'm going to give you the pros of having a office space. And of course, you know, I always got my trusty notes here. First thing is you're going to have an established presence. For some people, when they ask you what you do, you say you sell life insurance, you do this, and they're going to ask, well, where's your office? Well, if you have office space, you can tell them where my office is at 1234 Walla Walla Street. So you have a physical presence where people can actually come to you, and they may feel more secure. People are like that, just deal with it. Some people prefer people with an actual space. So for some people, it's another level of, okay, he or she's legit. Second, you can conduct business privately. Sometimes people may want to come to you to conduct business. Maybe they don't want you to come to their home. Maybe they are trying to do some business and don't want to get their family involved in it. So they may want to just come to you personally into your office space where they can sit down privately, go over the information, and they can talk to you about what they want to have done. So that's another good reason to have office space, is that you can conduct business. You can have in-office meetings, which is powerful depending on what type of product or service that you're selling. It can make a difference between doing a presentation inside of an office versus sitting down at Starbucks. Second is supporting your agents. Now, of course, as you know, this channel is mainly geared toward the solo insurance agents, but also those agents who want to maybe have a small team, a small local team. And if you have an office space, then you can use that office space as a hub to train, support your agents. You can do special meetings. You can do a lot of in-person meetings. Maybe you want to do a conference call and you can have everybody in one spot and do that with a carrier for some carrier training. So having the office space and having a local presence along with local agents, you can use your office as a hub for your agents. Also, something that I'm looking at doing later on this year is you can use your office space as a networking type of venue. Maybe you want to host some happy hour events. Maybe you want to host a client appreciation. Maybe you want to network with other businesses in the area, and you can use your office space as a networking spot. Now, it has to be organized. You just can't say come hang out. Has to be a rhyme or reason to it, but you can use your office space as a networking event hub. Say, hey, I'm hosting this event this Friday or this Saturday evening at this location. You can have the office space set up, so it can be a nice little nice networking piece depending on how you want to do it. Another pro is content creation. Now, right now I'm in my office. This is actually an office suite, so this is one of the offices in the suite, and I'm here by myself. So I use one of the offices as my videography room. You know, I do my video. I got some lights, some other lights behind the camera. I got a green screen that I'm trying to use. I got some other stuff going on, but when you have office space, depending on how big it is, you can dedicate space inside the office space for your content creation. Maybe you want to do videos. Maybe you want to do some trainings. Maybe you want to interview somebody who's local. They can come to your office. You guys can do the interview in the same space, have everything set up, everything is controlled. Also, if you noticed, if you're watching this on YouTube, but you probably are, there are a lot of insurance agents, financial services agents who do a lot of video creation. Some of them do their videos in their home office, which is another option. I'm gonna talk about that. Some of them do videos in the home office. Others have an office space or even a whole building, and you can see how they dedicate one part of that space to nothing but content creation. Some guys have even entire studios built an office. Now, I'm not at that level yet, but if the business expands and the needs dictate it, I would do a in-office studio. I would get the overhead lights. I would do all that, but that's only possible when you have your own dedicated office space to do that. So that's a pro to it. Now let's get to the cons. The first thing is overhead. All right, so number one, you gotta sign a lease. And depending on what type of building you're gonna get, who you're dealing with, they may want you to sign a multi-year lease. Are you prepared to be on the hook for 2 or 3 years at office space? Number two, new bills. You're gonna get a light bill, you're gonna get a internet bill, you're gonna get bills for your office space, which goes to the next con. Are you generating enough overhead to justify the cost of having a office space? Even if it's just a one small office, it's still an expense. But can you justify with your income, with your profits coming in to cover that cost? Because there's a cost. What's some other things I wrote down? Office equipment. Depending on the type of office you get, some offices may have a shared copier, printer machine. But let me tell you something. If you're selling life, if you're selling any type of insurance, you're going to want your own dedicated printer, your own dedicated fax line. You're going to want everything in your space. You don't have to get up and walk around. So you're prepared to purchase a printer, scanner, paper, office supplies. Now, thankfully, in my case, just give a little backdrop. This used to be a shared space with me and 2 other people. And as time went by, I just said, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and handle the whole thing. But we were able to get a actual huge copy machine donated to us. So we had a copy machine that was in the front, I guess the reception area, large copy machine, the ones you see in Kinko's, and we ended up networking it. So we were able to print from our desktops or laptops to the printer. And we also used it as a fax machine because there's a fax line connected to it. So we got lucky in that sense, but we also have a regular printer that sits on top of a desk. So we got that too. That big old printer, I think I'm gonna end up donating that back because when I first started, a lot of my business was paper intensive. And I had to fax a lot of paperwork in. A lot of these insurance companies are now getting with the times, so we don't have to fax everything. So my reliance on faxing has dramatically dropped to the point now where I'm just going to pay for an e-fax service and just pay the yearly fee. And if I need to send a fax, I just send a fax. But so the primary use for that big printer in the front, the big copy machine in the front, it's not the same as it was. So I may end up changing it out. But that's another thing is office equipment, office supplies, and the expenses. And another thing is loafing around. My office is not the type of space where people can come and hang out. People know I have an office. People that I do business with locally know I have an office, but they don't just show up and just hang out. This is not the hangout spot. And one thing that you're gonna have to fight if you decide to do this is you may have to tell some of your friends or family members, hey, this is my office, this is where I do business. This is not the place to come congregate during working hours. So you have to, if you have that type of family, those type of associates who like to just show up and hang out, you gotta have to talk with them. So typically, my office is quiet. You can hear the echo. The only time people are in this office is to do business. I don't have a lot of friends that come by unless I know they're coming by or they just happen to be in the area and we talk for about 5-10 minutes and we go. All right, so those are the pros and cons to having an office. All right, let's talk about the pros and cons to not having an office. If you don't have an office, 2 things are going to happen. You're either going to work from your home with a home office, or you're going to leave out the house and go meet clients at their home or at their place of business. So the pros of that is you have no cost. I mean, you're paying your rent, you're paying your mortgage, so there's no hard cost involved with that except just paying your rent. Looking at my notes, You saving money on gas because you're not leaving the house, going to the office, and then doing other things like that. Also, you're saving on money, saving on food, because if you have a home office, chances are you're gonna just walk to the kitchen to eat lunch. You're not gonna leave out the office at 11, sit in traffic, get lunch, buy some lunch you shouldn't be eating. I'm just telling you, this is my story. You leave the office, you go to this restaurant, you call in, you're gonna have a lot of these, like I got a kitchenette over there, and there's a lot of menus that I can call, say, hey, I need to get this, leave the office, go pick it up for lunch. You're gonna spend some money. So having a home office or working mobile, well, if you're working mobile, you're probably gonna keep your food with you, but if you have a home office, you're probably gonna be eating out your refrigerator, all right? So those are the pros. Let's talk about the cons. The cons is limited space. You know, if you're starting from home, you're working either in a spare bedroom, the garage, you're working in a limited space, all right? You have to make do, but that's what it is. You're working out of a limited space. It's not gonna be conducive to certain clients. You know, depending on what type of insurance you're selling, some clients are not gonna wanna come to your house. They're just not gonna wanna come. But, you know, if you're doing Zoom calls, it's a little different, but it's not conducive to certain clientele. I'm just gonna leave it at that. No distinct local presence. You know, I use Google Places, and you should too, Google My Business, if you have an actual office, a commercial office space. But when you have a home office, you're not really gonna tell everybody where you stay at. Say, hey, my office is here. You're probably not gonna do that. So if you're trying to build a local presence locally in your community, it's gonna be a little tough working out of your home, or being mobile. Also, it makes it a little bit tough to do Google My Business. Now, I know some people will use that residential address for Google My Business. I don't recommend that. But if you have a commercial address, you can do Google My Business. Content creation and studio limitations. Now, you know, some people have a nice home office where they can really do some good videography. They can record things. It makes sense for them. For some of you guys, you may be starting out in your little kid's room. You may be starting out in the garage, and it may not be conducive to content creation. Not that that's the main thing, but we're in 2022. All right, content creation is part of the gig. I mean, unless you work telesales and you just get leads. Even then, the people who are getting the leads still have to create content to get the leads to call in. So it's almost impossible to say, well, I'm not gonna make I'm not gonna worry about doing videos, Thomas. I don't want to do articles. I just want to sell insurance. In 2010, you could have did that. 2022, you gotta have an online presence. People are gonna look you up, and at minimum, they want to see a video of you talking. They want to be able to read some articles. They want to be able to maybe hear audio. They're going to check you out, just like you're probably checking me out. They're gonna want you to do it. So it's just good to go ahead and get that done. But that is a limitation. So those are the pros and cons to having an office or not having an office space. Now, I'm not in the business of telling people what to do. I ask questions that you should ask yourself. So the first question you should ask yourself is this: do you intend on selling in homes all the time, or do you intend on selling or do you intend on selling in your office face to face? That's a good question. So if you're gonna be selling outside the home, in people's homes, in people's businesses, and you don't really want to have extra bill, think about, do you want to have that lease when you're not gonna be using the building that much? In my case, I sell life insurance, but I'm also a notary. So I do have people come to the office for business. In a given year, I probably may have 5 to 6 people coming to the office to sit down and actually do an application for life insurance and some other services. But I do more notary appointments in my office than anything else. So I'm in the office and I'm out in the field. It's not a 50-50, but it's almost 50-50. because I do conduct actual income producing business in my office. So you have to ask yourself how much time are you going to spend in the office doing income producing activities, not just sitting around twiddling your fingers. Do you generate enough income? Because if you're just starting out, you may not want to do office starting out. All right, because it's a commitment. First of the month, you gotta pay your rent, your mortgage, and you gotta pay your office lease. And they're looking for the money. So ask yourself, do I make enough money right now to even think about getting an office space? Which goes to the next one. Will you commit to the long lease? Some leases a month, some leases are year to year. Some people want you to do a 3-year lease. I guess it depends on how nice the building is and how new it is. Are you going to be serving high-end clients? Because there are some clients who just, depending on the type of services you're selling, they have different expectations. And if you're trying to manage their money, or if you want them to hand over a large sum of money to you, they're going to want to see that you are legit and you know what you're talking about, and you look the part. I know some folks don't like that, but I mean, are you going to cut a check to somebody who has an office in a bad part of town and, it looks a little sketchy? I mean, just put yourself in the client's shoes. You're not about to cut a check for this amount of money with this, nah, I don't know. So I know folks don't like to hear that, but I got to speak the truth. I have to be honest with you. So if you're going to be serving certain clientele, selling certain services and products, you have to have a environment that is conducive to doing that type of business. That's just what it is. And finally, is this going to be a full-time endeavor? Because, my old adage is, if you treat this like a business, it'll pay you like a business. If you treat it like a hobby, it will pay you like a hobby. And if you're going to commit to an office space, you got to be committed to the business. You can't treat this business as a hobby. Like, I'm going to do this when I feel like it, but I'm going to do other things too. You have to be committed. So if you're going to be committed to the business, committed to selling, educating, whatever you're going to do within this business to make income, then yeah, maybe you can get an office space eventually. But if you're not committed to this, if this is part-time to you, don't get those new bills, So where am I? I'm 17 minutes in. I try to keep these videos short. So to get an office space or not to get one, that's a question. But that's a question you have to ask yourself based on your goals, your market, and your income coming in. I'm in the office now. I've tried to work. I worked from home when I first started, and I worked from home when the pandemic, can I say that on YouTube? When the pandemic happened in 2020, I was working from home too. I didn't really come to the office because it was shut down, so I was just working from home at that time. Me personally, I do better working out of the office. I like to have that separation. I'm not the type that can work from home, and I need that separation. I need to be able to get up, take the shower, and leave and go to my office where I do one thing here. I conduct business here. I meet people. I make content. I host events. And then when I go home, I'm at home. Now, yeah, I do have boxes of applications. I got insurance stuff in my house, but I don't do a lot of business at the house. I may do a little bit, but I can cut it off. I can turn it off. Well, I'm here. But that's just me. Plus you have to know yourself. So now I'm rambling, so I'm gonna cut this thing down. So this is Thomas. Give me your comments, share the video, also subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button, notification bell, so anytime I produce a video, anytime it's uploaded, you will see it. But most likely, I'm gonna upload the video more likely every Wednesday is when the videos will be uploaded, at least every Wednesday. And then I may do a second video every once in a while on a Saturday, but I think Wednesdays is going to be my upload day. So you guys take care. See you in the next video.